Right. Hey, everybody. Okay, so today what we're going to learn is how to do the bell ringer online. All right, so the first thing is to do is you're going to have to go to under your classroom tab. When you go under your classroom tab, you're going to see the weekly schedule in there. And then there's going to be, you just scroll down to the whatever week that we're on. And so once you're on here, like for example, week 2, you'll see there's a Monday through Friday. It's going to say bell ringer and whatever week that we're on. Typically, the bell ringer matches the week that we're on for school. Okay. So you just click on it. When you click on it, you can view the assignment, but you'll be able to see your screen's going to look a little bit different than mine, but you'll be able to see where the bell ringer is, and you'll click on where it says view assignment. Okay. So we're going to assume that you did that. And when you do that, you'll get something that looks like this. Okay. So it'll say week, make sure it has the correct week on it, bell ringer response sheet. Now, if I handed you out a physical copy of a bell ringer, it's going to look like this. Okay. However, though, yours is going to, if you're doing the online version, which is what a majority of us are going to be doing, yours is going to be looking like something like this. Okay. It's going to look like, it's going to look like this. Now, when you are here, it's going to say bell ring response sheet, week 1 and everything. This is just an example. I just want to let you know. But this is the bell ringer response for week 1. So it's going to tell you what week it is. And then it says, please use the bell ringer guide for directions, examples, and help doing this week's bell ringer correctly. So what am I talking about that? Now, if you go under right here, there's going to be helpful videos right here. There's going to be one that says bell ringer on there, and you can look through and there'll be this video here that will teach you how to do it. But most importantly, there's going to be a guide for your bell ringer, and the bell ringer guide is going to look like something like this. It's going to say bell ringer guide, and it's going to have the examples. So it's going to have Monday mistakes on there. It's going to have how to do it. So it's going to ask you for the direction that you need to do. So for example, purpose of this exercise is to get you guys ready for peer editing, review, and everything. But the main thing, what I'm asking you for on Mondays is to do this. So for a Monday's bell ringer, and this is actually out of all the bell ringers that you have to do, Mondays tends to be the most complicated one. So I'm going to try to do my best to explain it to you. Monday mistakes. There's Tuesday's terms. There's Wednesday's wise word. There's Thursday's thoughts, and then there's Friday figurative language. Again, if you're given a hard copy of them, they're the same thing. It's the same thing. One of them is just formatted online so that it's much easier for you to just fill in the information than it is to when you try to um, basically convert this into a Word doc. Because it's a PDF, it just doesn't work very well at all. So that's why I had to reformat it to something like this for you, okay, where all the stuff is already there for you. So let's walk through it together. On Monday's mistakes, basically what I'm asking you to do is to correct the errors in the following paragraph using the directions that you have in your bell ringer guide. So in this case, the bell ringer guide is saying this is the different directions that I want you to do. And notice, guys, that there are technically like 7 steps into the Mondays one. And the reason that is because you don't have a hard copy of it. So you can't just go ahead and make, corrections with a pencil and paper. You have to do it online. So therefore the directions are going to be a little bit different. All right, so the first thing it's going to ask you to do is to highlight in yellow the areas that the sentence are, the Google spell check automatically points out. What do I mean by this? First of all, here's an example. So my name is Watson. That one's misspelled. Notice how Google spell check will automatically put a little squiggly line under the components that need to be fixed. And you can see it clearly because Google's doing it right there. See? Right here, there's a red squiggly line, there's blue squiggly lines, and all those mean is that those are already mistakes that Google spell check already sees for you. So there's not a whole lot that you have to do besides go through, and what I'm asking you to do is to highlight those. So you would come over here to highlight, you press down on the area that you see, and you come over here and you just click on the yellow one, okay? And this will be this will turn yellow for you. It'll turn yellow just like you see here. Okay, I'm going to undo that, but that's how you highlight things. Okay. The next thing that it's asking you to do is highlight in blue any areas that you see in the Google that Google spell check did not get. So you're doing the same thing. An example, if you see there's like a section right here, you would highlight that in you're gonna highlight that in blue. And again, it's the same thing. Let's say that I think that, oh, look at this. Let's say, I don't know, right here, I thought, again, this isn't one of the answers. I'll go through it. But let's say I thought right here that this was a part, there's a mistake here that Google spell check obviously doesn't get. So I would go here and use the light blue one and point that out. Okay? So that's what that means right there. So the next step that is asking for me to do is to go ahead and step 3, it says in red brackets, you put red brackets by the comments that you want to do. You insert your in-text comments basically in red brackets. What that means is you have bracket here, bracket there. You're going to insert your comment on what the mistake is. So for an example, if it says, I want to because I like it, well, we notice that right here, the word cause, that's not spelled correctly. So we would put in brackets, cause should be because, and this needs to be in red font. Okay. Don't you come here and use a different font. The directions say to use red, so that's what we're going to do it. We're going to try to do everything uniform so that we can easily see how everybody is doing. Everybody's doing the same thing. Okay, so don't go through and do your own thing with the bell ringer. It has to be done this specific way. Number 4, for spelling or word choice errors in your in-text comments, you make suggestions, edit, and then explain what the error is. Insert a semicolon between the two parts. So what that means is that you have to explain. So here's an example. Since COVID-19 happened, the whole world has gone crazy. So you see right here that the whole world, that's not spelled correctly. So what you're going to say is in the brackets, you say, okay, the mistake is that the word choice is wrong. So you might say, mistake, the word choice is wrong. I just always start with review. So review the word choice whole, and I put the word in parentheses, should be whole. Okay. And what happens that is saying is that between when you're making one comment where the mistake is, you're telling what the mistake is, we want you to insert a semicolon. Okay. It looks like this symbol. We want you to put that in between the mistake and how to fix it. Okay, that just separates it to let me know that two different things are going on. Okay, what I don't want is this, basically. All right, I don't want that. I want you to insert one to tell me that there's two sections. I want to split it together. Okay, number 5 here says if a word is misspelled or is the wrong word for the sentence, write the misspelled word in quotation marks, and then the word should be, and then give the correct way to fix the error in another set of quotations. So what that means is, here's an example. Cause needs to be in parentheses. All right, should be because. All right, and that mistake was back here. Right here, I want to cause I like it. So we're just showing you that this, whatever word that you think, and again, you would highlight that part. This part would be highlighted right here, okay? So that I can see that clearly that that's the one that you're referring to. All right, wherever there's a mistake, always highlight it. Okay. The difference between the yellow and the light blue again is just that one. The yellow one just means that Google spell check already gave you that. The light blue one means you thought of that one. Google spell check did not do that, and the reason is I want to see both. I want to see the mistakes that you think Google spell check caught, and I want you to tell me why that's a mistake, right? And then I also want you to look further than just what Google spell check caught, because Google spell check won't catch everything. All right, let's go to number 6. Number 6 here is saying if a word, punctuation, article, parts of speech, etc. is missing, okay, in a sentence, insert brackets and in-text comment to explain what's missing and how to fix the sentence. Be sure to separate these two things by a colon. So what that means, semicolon, sorry. So I give you an example of what that looks like. Let's take a look at some examples. So I like school because missing a pronoun, and right here, insert the, right here, I'm saying that, so the sentence was, I like school because like to learn. and it's missing a pronoun, I. So the mistake that they got was it's missing a pronoun, okay? And a pronoun replaces a person's name and everything, or a subject. So missing a pronoun, and then I'm saying here's a semicolon, here's how to fix it, insert I, and then I put in my in brackets and everything. Okay, here's another example. The sentence was, I very fast, I'm like lightning bolt. Well, it's missing a verb, so it says missing a verb, semicolon, insert run, in bracket, and then that's for that part. But we also notice here, I'm like lightning bulb. That doesn't make any sense. So we said missing an article, insert A. Okay, so tell me what the mistake is. Tell me how to fix it. That's the main thing that you need to know how to do that. Okay, so that's really what that comes from right here. Number 7, if a part of the sentence is missing a comma, semicolon, or the correct punctuation mark, you don't have to insert one. You instead say review the usage of comma. Okay, we review the usage of a period. Review the research of an exclamation mark. Okay, and then then tell me why an exclamation mark goes there. Tell me why a comma would go there, and so forth. Okay, it's very important. Here's some examples. So, for an example, I like to play basketball, baseball, soccer, and golf. Okay, they are really fun to play and they keep me in shape. Okay, so we're missing right here. It says review the usage of commas to list things off. Okay, in the sentence and everything. Baseball, there should be another comma. Notice how I didn't insert a comma. I just said review the usage of commas. And the reason that we're doing this is to get you guys prepared for when we do peer editing. We don't give our the person that you're correcting their paper for, you don't give them the answers. Instead, you give them tips. Hey, review the usage of commas right here. Review the usage of how to spell this word. Review this usage, or make sure you spell this word correctly, and so forth. But for the meaning of this exercise, you not only give them the tip, but you also are going to tell me the answers, only because this is an exercise. I want to make sure that you know the answer as well. Okay, now, how do you get tips on the grammar and everything? That's where this comes along. This is your grammar guide, and this is located right here. How to find that? You go under grammar lessons, and what I will do is I will have videos, but most importantly, you can then look through, use your grammar guide to be able to help you, navigate through some of this stuff. So, like proofreading marks, most of that is obsolete for somebody that's doing everything online. You don't have to worry about that. Sentence fluency, this walks you through. Okay, review. So, because all of you guys would have that, you can say review the usage of capitalization for proper noun. So that would tell me that I need to go through my guide and find capitalization and look at proper nouns. What would I use, for that? Or review the usage of nouns in the grammar guide, and so forth. So you're giving the peer tips, or you're giving the person tips that they need to go back and review this thing. You're not telling them the answers, but you're telling them how they can fix their paper. And that's kind of what we are trying to strive for here. So that's why I use the word review the usage of commas to list things off in a sentence, rather than just putting a comma down there for the person. All right, we got to move on. Let's go to the next thing. It says, see, these are some of the examples and everything, but this is the original. So this is the same thing as what you saw right here. Okay, all I did is I copied it over here so you can see it a little bit better. Okay, notice that Google, again, when you have this, you're going to see Google spell check is giving you hints of misspellings and everything. That's completely fine. I want you to go through and highlight those areas and tell me why they're wrong. Okay. So again, if it's a red squiggly, that means it is. So here's what I mean by the red squiggly right here. If it's a red squiggly line underneath a certain word or phrase, what that means is that there's a spelling mistake. If there's a blue squiggly, that's a grammar mistake. Okay. And you have to be able to decipher and know which one is that. Okay, again, if you need help, go through the grammar guide. Look for the specific parts that you're struggling with. Okay, send me a message. Come see me. and we can help you with some of these grammar components, and we'll work through them together in class. So I don't want you to feel overwhelmed with all this. But the idea is that I want you to start getting into an idea that, hey, oh yeah, at the end of the sentence, I need a period. I need to capitalize the first word in every sentence. So I want you to start getting used to using these grammar rules so that you can become a better writer. So here we go. So it says this is what your original, Monday mistake is going to look like. Again, it looks just like this. All you're doing is that I want you to go through now, and what I want you to do is you're going to make those highlights, right? These are certain things that Google, again, what's highlighted in blue, Google spell check did not do, correctly. All right. So I have to go through and I have to try to fix those. All right. And then so that's how you do this part. And then all these were the ones that are highlighted in yellow. Google spell check actually helped me with those. Okay, so Google spell check helped me with those. So I highlight those in yellow, and then in brackets I tell you, okay, what's going on? How do I fix it as well? And again, in one side of the bracket, okay, one side of the bracket, that's when you tell me what's wrong with it. The other side, after the semicolon, is when you tell me how to fix it. Okay, for example, right here it says were. This is a word choice error, and then semicolon were should be, right? So right here we need to put were should be where, and so forth. Okay. This is how to do Monday mistakes. All right, the next thing that I want you to learn how to do, again, you're going to go through and do the same thing. You're just following all of these steps, all these directions. All right, Monday mistakes will take you a little bit longer if you're doing it online. But again, the more we practice, the better you'll get at that. All right, let's go to Tuesday's terms. Your Tuesday terms look just like this. And again, your Tuesday's terms are going to look right here. All right. You're going to look just like this for your Tuesday's terms. All I want you to do is to look up the word, okay, what the word means. So there you're going to have the sentence here, and then this word is part of it. I want you to look it up. First, tell me what you think it means in your own words, and then look it up in a dictionary. Okay. So that's one thing that I want you to work on, and this is exactly what this is telling you about right here. So if I put the example here, we have haughty says what I think haughty means. And then what I do want you to do, the directions here for Tuesday terms, I do want you to put your answers in red text. Okay. So please use red text for your answers, just like you see in the example that's given. All right. I'm going to go ahead and skip to Wednesday wise words. All right. So for Wednesday's wise words, what you're doing here, it tells you the purpose, why we're doing it. Here's the direction. You have to find the meaning of the quote or tell me what you think it means. Does it relate to your life or the world? So a quote is given to you. Again, yours will look just like this. So Wednesday over here, it's going to give you what is the meaning of the quote. Here's a quote. And I just want you to come here. And again, your response needs to be in red. So you come here, red text. I think this means yada yada. And you go ahead and write your response down here, okay, in the blank. All right. So that's how to do Wednesday's one. Let's zip over to Thursdays. Thursdays are thoughts. It's the same thing. I'm going to give you a quote or a little thing, except the only difference between this one, okay, the only difference between the Thursday's thoughts one is that I want you to use a method now, okay, that I call STAR method. Okay, STAR stands for S stands for the situation or circumstance. Make sure it's specific. Okay, it's not general. Find something specific. I'm going to give you an example here. And then it says T. T is for the task or theme or the main idea of the thought. Okay, so T is for task or the theme. So what were you trying to do? What did you learn through it and everything? A is for the application. So try to explain the events or what happened, or whatever you're talking about. First this happened, second this happened, okay, then this happened, and so forth. Try to have a real life application to it if possible. And then R is the results or the resolution, reflection. What did you learn? Conclude your thoughts. Okay, in the results of this whole thing happened here, or as I reflect on this, This is what I learned, and so forth. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and give you an example. So example of the prompt is what about write about a time when you were surprised. So again, the main thing that I tell you here is that answers will vary, but my expectations for Thursday's thoughts is that you will use the star method, and then you can write in complete sentences. And again, it's same with Thursday's thoughts. Sorry, same with Wednesday's wise words. Please write everything in complete thoughts, okay, so that you can make sure that you're doing everything correctly. All right. So let me give you an example. So try to use these key phrases in your writing for Thursday's thoughts. The situation was so forth. I was thinking that the real world application of this is as a result of this, yada yada. So the situation, here's an example. The situation was when I was coming home one day. And again, the prompt here says, write about a time when you were surprised. Okay. The situation was, so remember, I'm using star. S is for situation. So the situation was when I was coming home one day and my wife was already home. She ran to me and gave me her pregnancy test. You're going to be a daddy, she told me. I was stunned. Wow, my head was flooding with so much emotion and I was happy for us. But at the same time, I was thinking about, okay, remember, I'm using these key things. So I'm telling you the situation. I'm thinking about what I was thinking. I'm thinking about the real world application. So right here, I kind of use those phrases. I'm looking for those phrases. In fact, I want you to kind of underline these phrases and bold them as you're seeing this. Um, so I'm gonna put right here, as you are, just to help you. So as you are using the star method, as you're using the star method, please underline the key phrases. Instead of underline, I'm gonna say please bold. Okay, bold the key phrases as shown below. All right. So I just want to make sure that you guys are, this is, real way you're using these things. The purpose of this is sometimes when you're going through an interview, they're saying, well, can you tell me about a time where you went above and beyond in giving the customer service? Then you can remember STAR, right? STAR says what's the specific, situation? What was the task that you were given? What's the application? Kind of walk them through the step. And then R, what was the result of it, all of that? Okay. So this is kind of the reason I want you to really be able to share your thoughts with people in a very strategic, chronological way instead of just being all over the place, giving me random stuff. I don't want that, okay, and Thursday's thoughts. So please follow this. I do want to circle back to Wednesdays real quick because I, for some reason, skipped through a lot of this stuff a little bit here. I gave an example, so the quote's going to be here. The main thing that I'm looking for is that I want you to be able to reflect back on the quote here. So I want you to, so an example is that I'll start something like this. I think the quote means that, that's a great way to start your quote. And then I want you to find a real life application to it and go back to the quote. So at the end, so I mentioned something like this at the very end. I said, as Mark Twain says, we need to pause and reflect back, check our motives, and see if we have a justifiable reason to doing what everyone else is doing. So again, the quote was by him. I want you somehow to go back and link it back to what the quote was saying. I don't want you to go on a tangent about something but not be able to relate it back to what the main idea of the quote is. So please find a way to link back. And that way you're sticking with the prompt and you're not just going on a random tangent somewhere. Okay. And again, the cool part about doing this, you can fix your spelling mistakes. Okay. You can fix your grammar errors and all that kind of stuff to make sure that, there's no excuse for grammar errors, especially for when you're doing things online. Everything that you give to me, there it should be grammar and spelling mistakes free. Okay. All right. So that's how to do the Wednesday and Thursday. Finally, we're going to take a look at the figurative language. Again, let's go back to how yours would look like. So we got Wednesday's wise words, we have our Thursday thoughts, we have our Friday figurative language. All right. And so it says, based on the figurative language key bank given to you in your guide and the definition of each word, which figurative language do you think best fits for the following and why? So the purpose that you're going to be doing here is that I want you to go back to your guide, which is going to be here. And if you look at Friday figurative language, it's going to give you the purpose. The main idea is to be familiarized with some common figurative language that's painted all over our culture. And then what's a figurative language? Well, it's really a clever way of saying things that, helps you to remember them better. All right. One thing that you can remember. So, for example, simile. I try to give you some tips. Compare something using like or as. So go through and make sure you familiarize yourself with all these 13 things. But these are the 13 that I emphasize in this class. There's a ton more, but the purpose that I want you to do is to remember that you need to be familiarized with these ones. Okay, so go through, make sure you understand the definition of them, and I don't want you to just randomly guess. Okay, I want you to really give your best effort here. And what you're gonna do, what you're gonna do right here is then once you think of one, let's say you thought of this one. I'm just gonna make it up, but let's say you thought this was simile. Okay, so you're gonna write simile here, but again, I want you to write your responses in red text. Okay, that way I can tell apart. Immediately, I know that this is your response to this question. If it's all in black, sometimes it just muddles everything, and I can't tell which one's your responses and everything. Okay, so let's say you thought the next one was metaphor. So first thing, please delete the line that there's there. Delete the line. Don't write over the line. It doesn't look very good. Okay, let's say I'm making this up. This isn't the correct answer, but the idea here is just so you can see how to properly fill this out. So this would be metaphor that I think. Okay, now I'm gonna undo all these real quick. So I'm undoing all of them. So you can see, okay, I don't want you to write. I don't want you to go simile right here, okay? Look at that. I don't want you to do that, okay? So please don't do that. That's a bad example, okay? You can even try to put it in red text. I still don't want it. I want you to get rid of the line. The only reason I have the line there, and maybe in future these I'll get rid of the line, but the purpose of the line is just to let you know this is where you insert your information. Okay. So again, these future ones, I might just get rid of the line and have you already assume you put your answers here. So it's very important that we do all of these correctly. All right. So that's how to do the bell ringer. Once you have the bell ringer done, I'll show you kind of how in another way how to turn in assignments. But the most important thing is that you get the bell ringer done, and then you would go ahead and upload this sheet right here under the correct assignment for whatever week the bell ringer. It would go there. Bell ringers are due on at the beginning of class on Friday, and we go through them together. So they're kind of we do it in class. It's an in class one. So I don't expect you to do these at home by yourself unless you're self quarantine or you're sick or something. You're absent. Or if you want to work ahead, you can if you want. It's not. There's nothing against that. You can always work ahead. All right, guys, thank you so much. I apologize if the video was so long, but this is how to do the bell ringer. Thank you.